actually, I want to just do a pre-introduction because I've asked Tyler to actually introduce the program and the speakers. But I want to give a shout out to our very own Tyler Johnson for the role he's played in the United Way last year as the chairman of the volunteers and now as vice president. And then we saw that he received an award just within the last couple of weeks. So thank you, Tyler, and I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce Carmen. And thank you so much for being here, Carmen.
How come you're not wearing a tie, Tyler?
Because
Friday.
You're a vice president, man.
COVID.
You're a vice president. You should be wearing a tie.
It's
You're the president. You're wearing a jumpsuit.
I'm wearing fire retardant clothing for work.
Thank you, Kathy. So Carmen's here with us today from the United Way. She was born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, but did not move to the peninsula until 2017. She came here with her husband, Greg, and her dog, Boxer Schmidt. She loves it out here. She's an avid surfer. Just give her a chance to talk about it and she will. She's been with United Way for just over a year now and is our resource development manager. She enjoys the work with United Way. She came over to us from First Step. Thank you, Norm. Appreciate it. She values her ability to support nonprofits that provide vital services to our community. If you remember right, she came and chatted with us back in late spring with our COVID-19 relief fund. So she's not a complete stranger.
Great. Thank you so much, Tyler, for that warm welcome and introduction. And thank you all for having me back today. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Let's see. Move it around so we can see okay. All right. Can everyone see that okay? Wonderful. All right. So I'm grateful to gather and spend time with you all again this morning. Thank you for having me. So like Tyler said, the last time I was able to gather virtually with you was back in April. And that was in the early stages of the pandemic that we're currently in. You guys heard our community's need for help during that beginning stage, and you answered with incredible support. So I just wanted to start off and say, thank you for your generous donation. And on behalf of our neighbors who need our help the most, you are showing us what it means to live united. So thank you so much. I'm also here today to share what we've been up to and how we are investing your donations. So United Way of Clallam County has been a health and human service leader in our region for over 65 years. Our mission is to strengthen our community by helping people live safe, healthy, and productive lives. And we do this by being a constructive voice for human service needs in Clallam County. So funds raised in Clallam County go to programs and projects addressing these three main focus areas. So education, financial stability, and health. And we do this so that our community advances learning at all levels. We believe it achieves greater financial stability and improves physical health and mental well-being with these building blocks. So this work helps improve situations for families today and strengthens the entire community for the future. I'm gonna move my screen a little bit more. There you go. So we support 24 local nonprofits in these areas of education, financial stability, and health. And people can give to any nonprofit through the United Way as long as they're a registered 501c3. We also have the Community Care Fund that can be designated to. And when you choose the Community Care Fund, your gift is invested in meeting the most critical and current needs in Clallam County. So there are a lot of nonprofits on here that I know you guys support directly. So thank you so much for helping with that. So in 2019, with your help, United Way invested over $1.4 million in our community. So the COVID fund, to start off with, was created to assist local nonprofits with these immediate needs. The fund was kickstarted with $100,000 from the Clallam Community Foundation, and to date, 34 relief grants have been made. Next up, the campaign donations. So these funds are designated to nonprofits or allocated to support high-performing charities to address health and human service needs in our community. And then here, the Clallam Community Foundation provides grants and scholarships for early learning programs, funding for youth and the elderly, and assistance to women fleeing domestic violence. And then the United Way also manages the grant process for the Albert Haller Foundation, which provides food and basic needs to over 50 nonprofits each year. So here are your donations in action. So with your help, we've been able to quickly award requests for support in our community. And here are just a few examples of how your donation was put into action. So really quickly, the Olympic Peninsula YMCA. So in the early beginning stages of COVID, childcare was initiated at Dry Creek School for first responders and medical providers. First Step Family Support Center received diapers and formula for families in need, and they have since received a second award for goods and services to support client outreach. The Boys and Girls Club, your donations help provide childcare and meals in both Port Angeles and Sequim. And Camp Beausite Northwest, they sent out a Camp in a Box activity package to 150 campers that couldn't gather in person. So they received this little Camp in a Box activity kit. And also money went to upfront costs to running a respite weekend once it's safe to gather. And then the Port Angeles Education Foundation received a grant to provide internet to students in Port Angeles School District who otherwise would not have access. Next up, we have a new term here. So back in 2018, United Way of the Pacific Northwest collaborated with the Research Advisory Committee, which was composed of experts from across the state to foster a better understanding of who is struggling in our communities. And from this research, we found that 23% of households in our region are ALICE. ALICE is an acronym that stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. So these are households with income above the federal poverty level, but earning below the basic cost of living. ALICE households earn too much to qualify as poor, but are still unable to make ends meet. Just for perspective, the federal poverty level for a family of four earns just over $25,000 a year. And then, so with this data, we found that 36% of households in Clallam County are either ALICE or in poverty and cannot afford basic needs such as housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, and technology. And low wages and rising costs mean that ALICE households are living in poverty or just barely scraping by in Clallam County. Some families are one paycheck or setback away from homelessness. And also please note that these numbers were gathered prior to the pandemic. So we can only imagine that these numbers are going up. So our goal with this data is to inform and inspire policy and action to improve the lives of ALICE families in our county. If you're interested in learning more about ALICE households, you can reach out to me directly. We have a lot more data that we can drill into. So more than happy to chat about that more. Next up, we have the Clallam Community Foundation. So this foundation began in 1981, and it's a way to leave a permanent legacy for health and human service needs in our community. And this foundation, it's a long-term investment fund for United Way and other foundation partner organizations. And this foundation provides ways beyond the annual fundraising campaign to further our mission to help people live safe, healthy, and productive lives. And so here are your foundation dollars at work. So in 2019, over $24,000 went to scholarships for students in our region to attend college. $50,000 went to early learning projects that helped 4,219 children, parents, and teachers in Clallam County. And then we have the Albert and Helen Mangan Fund, which supports and operates the Clallam Resilience Project that we'll learn about here shortly. And then the Clallam, here we go, the Clallam COVID Response Fund. Like I said, it was kickstarted with $100,000 from our fund to support our community. And to date, our community has raised an additional $161,525. It's amazing. So the next couple slides highlight our community impact projects here at the United Way. So we fund the 211 helpline. If you haven't heard of this before, it's an easy to remember phone number to call for health and service needs in our community. You can get referrals and other assistance to meet these needs. And 211 maintains a statewide database of community resources that can be categorized by geographic area. And the most requested resource in our community are for utilities, housing, shelter, rent, and transportation. And you can see here 886 calls were received by community members and over 1,300 referrals were provided. This is a much needed service right now. Next up, we have the Clallam Resilience Project. So this project is a consortium of over 50 local organizations working together to foster resiliency for our residents, organizations, community, and systems. So we use research from neurosciences, which is neuroscience, epigenetics, ACEs, and resiliency. And we provide opportunities to connect, learn, and educate on how and why to apply trauma-sensitive practices countywide. And in 2019, the Resilience Project piloted a collaborative learning academy for 10 local agencies. And we found that this was especially important during this pandemic. We found a pressing need to support the building of individual agency and community resilience. Next up, we have the Get It Done Fund. So United Way partnered with the Peninsula College to create this fund. And this fund allows students to request help with financial barriers and provides a way for community members to offer tutoring and motivational support. Students can apply for assistance to pay for things like rent, bus passes, bills, and childcare, so they can continue towards their goal of receiving their high school diploma. Classes are offered for students of all ages at Peninsula College and at all branches. And in 2019, 12 students received assistance to avoid eviction and potentially homelessness. And if you have a chance, there is a video on our website for the Get It Done Fund, if you ever want to check that out. Next up, we have Youth United. So it's a partnership between United Way and local high schools. And this encourages volunteering and provides an opportunity for students to earn a varsity letter in service. We work with students in clubs with similar interests at the high school to help connect students with volunteer opportunities. It's a great way for students to network, and it also looks good in college resumes. And last but not least, we have the Literacy Council. So the Clallam County Literacy Council advocates for literacy at all ages in Clallam County. This council consists of volunteers from throughout the community and gives out over 4,000 books each year. We've held fundraisers like Bowling for Books and attended back to school fairs, community events. And this year with COVID, we were trying to engage youth a little bit more, and we held a writing contest. And we asked students to describe why reading is so important to them. And they entered to win Fire tablets. So that was neat. So our theme this year is respond, recover, reimagine, and rebuild. And so how are we going to do this? And we do this through our campaign. And so that kickstarted, or it launched on September 11th. And we've been asking for donations through local businesses, at special events. Right now they're online and in the mail. And our goal is to fundraise $800,000 by the end of March. We're currently at 18% of our goal. So here's some familiar faces here. So these are from events in years past. So back when we could gather, we held numerous community fundraising events to raise awareness and community impact projects for our partner agencies. And now we're taking things virtual. So I invite you to join us as we get creative and offering ways to engage and support our local nonprofits. And also, I invite you to stay connected with us and up to date and follow us on social media. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out that provides updates on our campaign and also provides updates on what our partner agencies are up to and what fun events they are doing as well. So I really appreciate your time today, and I look forward to the opportunity to partner with you while we respond, recover, reimagine, and rebuild. And if anyone has any questions, yeah, thank you.
I have a quick question for you. In the last 2 weeks, I've actually listened to some really good presentations through the Resiliency Coalition. Are those available, those presentations on the United Way website or through the Resiliency group? They were really informative.
Yeah, Kathy, thank you. So October was actually Resiliency Month, and so the Resilience Project Committee came together to offer free training and workshops for our community, and yeah, they were amazing and great tools for us. And they are available. They were recorded, and they are on our website under the Resilience Project. And there's also another outreach committee that their meetings are recorded as well. So there's a lot of great information and documents on our website too. Thank you.
For those of you who didn't see it, one really focused on the macaws, and the thing that stands out was these people were actually owned schooners in the late 1800s and had successful seal businesses. And then the focus this past week was on, and I wasn't aware of this, how the system actually is against Native families in terms of staying together because of its focus on income structure and the ability to get housing. Both fascinating presentations.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Carmen, I know that I've typically gotten a mailer that sort of is your solicitation as well as information. Is that something that's already gone out, or did I just miss it?
So that went out probably back in September. So if you did not receive one, I can double check and make sure that you get one, Norm. Thank you for following up on that.
I'm sure I can go online and do whatever as well. I just, with all the other junk mail, it might have gone out.
Yeah. No, I will follow up with you for sure. Thank you.
Okay, happy to.
So what have you seen with the COVID response in the community? Are there substantial ongoing needs for families?
You know, there are, so especially within our food banks, right? We've seen an uptick in requests for food. Our churches have been amazing in offering food deliveries as well. But yeah, food and rental assistance and technology, access to technology has been, you know, at the forefront.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a lot of ability to like personal protective equipment, right? So the Swim Free Clinic, Dungeness Free Clinic, they received a grant to get new furniture to be able to have their waiting room be easily sanitized and also properly distanced for people in the waiting rooms. So we're seeing a lot of unique requests that we've never seen before.
One of the larger donations we made recently was to the Port Angeles School District's Education Foundation to get access to students, or get internet access to students so they didn't have to chase these buses around and things like that. So I think through us and that foundation, almost every kid now has some sort of form of internet, whether it be a Verizon hotspot or Wave or whatever it is, available to them for distance learning.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time this morning.
Carmen,
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thank you very much for everything that you do, and not only you, but Alex and Alexia, I'm sorry, and Christy, and you guys do an amazing job. So it's a lot to do in a short amount of time, and you guys proved that it can be done every single year. So
Yeah, and I just wanted to shout out to Chris as well. You know, for being on our campaign board year after year. So thank you so much for being on that committee. And yeah, I mean, we are a small but mighty office. So like Chris said, we're an office of three full-time. So Christy Smith is our CEO. Alexi Nelson is our information and operations coordinator. And then Minnie Whalen is part-time. She is the director for the Clallam Resilience Project. And then just this last year, we took on our first Vista. Kaylin is working with Minnie through the AmeriCorps Vista program. So it's been amazing to hear her story and what she would like to do and stay in Clallam County. So it's neat that she's learning more about the nonprofits that are doing this amazing work. And yeah, and speaking of our nonprofits, I'm so grateful to be able to, you know, come on here and speak on behalf of them and thank you for your support so these nonprofits can continue providing these vital services for people in our community that need it the most. So thank you guys.
thank you, Tyler, also for that wonderful introduction of Carmen. And you know, you're going to be a speaker here pretty soon. So
Maybe he's
got-
not already.
there's a future for you yet. So, yeah. But next time wear a tie, please. Anyway.
I'm told more often than not that I'm better seen, not heard. So
Oh.
That's what my wife says to me. But well, does anybody have anything else we'd like to discuss today? It looks like we're going to be done a little bit early. So if nobody has anything else that they would like to discuss, I think what we'll do is we'll call this meeting. Anybody want to counter me on that yet? No? Okay.